What's going on, Philadelphia?
Hey, what's going on? I've been sick since Saturday, so I appreciate everyone hanging in there, and I'm so sorry I couldn't deliver on a hype speech this weekend. I'm actually just chilling on my couch right now. That was not intentional, but I just wanted to tell you that after a horrendously snow-filled sleet game and Saquon Barkley ripping off yet again 2 enormous touchdowns against the Rams this year, does no one realize that we're watching Barry Sanders all over again? Every complaint that I've heard about the passing game, and trust me, there's time for that. The national media really did swarm us this morning. And I don't know if it's because I'm feeling like crap or whatever, but man, that was such a thrilling, fun game. You and I probably always felt that game was in hand, even when we were shitting our pants towards the end. I just felt like they were going to come up with a play, even when Nakua, rips off that catch when there's less than a minute and a half left. I just felt like Vic could dial something up, and he did. And thank God for Jalen Carter and Fran Duffy for an amazing breakdown on how they set that all up. The defense is a fucking genius, guys. It's amazing. We have the best defense in the world and the second coming of fucking Barry Sanders behind one of the most powerful offensive lines of all time. And we're sitting here complaining about how come people didn't get the fucking ball thrown to them with rain, sleet, and snow, and A.J. Brown dropping a major catch, and I'm not even going to blame him. There was no footing on that field. A.J. Brown specifically looked at both of us and said, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy right then and there. So I want you to feel fucking amazing about this, because listen, if you don't think they can dip back into the passing game next Sunday against the Commanders with a slightly cloudy 40-degree day with no rain for days, I think, as I double-check the forecast, yeah. So, I know that people are always going to have their questions about the passing game. It has not been exuberant by any means this year, and yet somehow the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles looks like he might get a job with the Dallas Cowboys as the head coach. And you can look at that 100 different ways, but I don't think Kellen Moore called a bad game at all, outside of that horrendous decision to throw a play-action pass, which the Rams knew was coming. But, man, this team is so fucking good that everyone is mad at it when they win. And there has never been a greater place in my life that you look at what this team has been able to produce over and over again. And the fact that people still get mad at Jalen Hurts winning a football game because they can't understand that you can just be an average passer, which Jalen Hurts is. You and I can both admit that now. Nick Saban even said it on ESPN today as he's breaking down the championship games. And he had a great quote where he's like, guys like that and Lamar will always just try to go make a play. It's the difference between being a pure passer and being mobile. And especially in Jalen's case, he hits home runs when he throws. That's his job. That's all of this. They've been trying to figure out how to incorporate an air raid system for him since Nick Sirianni got into the league. And it is morphed into what you see right now and trying to keep everybody happy. And look, what do you want to say at this point? Okay, they're not throwing early to get ahead, nor should they. They're running like teams throw. And because this has been such a pass-happy league for a long time, this isn't that run the ball is back. This is the fact that you have a generational talent at running back, which no one thought was possible, and all they had to do was pay this guy in free agency. That's it. We got Barry Sanders because the Giants are fucking dumb. I don't know how this isn't the most talked about storyline, and I know it's very cute to look at Jaden Daniels and all the wonderful reports on why his progress is so fast with VR technology and, I don't know, the second coming of Brian Johnson for all I know. Maybe it's just because everyone is so bored of talking about Saquon Barkley already and yeah, it's great he's having such a good year. And that's not what's happening at all. This is something truly special that I don't think we're appreciating enough, to be honest with you. I think the whole concept of talking about fucking passing yards while this dude keeps doing historic things on the field is a ridiculous place to start, There are many critiques from the safety, from Jake, if you want to throw him in there, even though, can you shut the fuck up about Jake? He misses from 33. He's done it his whole career, okay? Did it against the Giants in that big 61-yarder, and by the way, he also did it in the Super Bowl. So he misses from 33, okay? That's his bugaboo. But outside of that, I mean, like, I want you to understand, and you probably do. I'm not trying to shame you. I'm just saying that this dude runs like guys throw and catch a ball. And for there to be any argument about where this offense starts, and it doesn't mean that you have to just keep running all the time. They opened up passing, and I expect them to open up passing against the Commanders too, to be honest with you, because that looked like it was going to work if we're getting that first flash of Jalen against Lattimore and AJ against that and all that. So, slowly biting my tongue, but I'm pretty sure we're all going to get what we want this week. And even if we don't, it shouldn't matter. Like, the best revenge game possible against the Commanders is if Jalen only throws 185 yards and 15 times and Saquon runs for 190 or whatever it is. They found a way to crash down once he got out of the game and yada, yada, yada. I already see Commanders fans just trying to take every little bit of hope that they can to shove it into stats or whatever. It's very cute. Welcome back to the playoffs, guys. But if you look at the rest of the weekend, I think you already know what I'm going to say. What a fucking weekend for yards don't matter. What has it been now? At least 8 years and going strong? Let's call it 5. 5 years of yards don't matter, go strong. Everybody that had the most yards this weekend fucking lost. And I don't understand why we measure success in yards. Yards is it's not even telling a story. It just is. There is no way in football that you will not gain yards unless you are having the worst performance in football ever. It is impossible not to gain yards. Don't turn over the football, score touchdowns instead of field goals, and make sure that the last 2 minutes of the first and second half, you have complete control, because that's when games change. That's basically the principles of every game theory in football at the moment, and we keep going back to fucking yards. What are we doing? Some of those stats matter, but not total yards. Are we fucking kidding me? Can we grow up, please? Go find ways to win in the playoffs. This is not about any statistical anything covering this or that, hitting the over or the under. You can do that on your own time. This team is built to run the football with the next Barry Sanders, and it's coming for you next, Commander fans. I can't fucking wait to see the look on your face by the time that the Eagles are celebrating going back to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years. So, more this week. I appreciate you hanging in, and thank you, by the way, for all the suggestions on Twitter. I had no appetite at all for the last 2 days. I knew I needed to eat something, so I literally DoorDashed every suggestion that was left in the Twitter post up there. So, that's still actually my question to you, because if you don't have an appetite, what's your go-to food? Somebody told me to eat a McDonald's cheeseburger, and son of a bitch, it worked, because I've been, drinking soup for the last day and a half here. So what's the most thing that's gotten your appetite back that you never expected? Because that's my number one today. So I promise you that this hype speech coming up is way more vitriol than anything else that I've ever said before. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say, because I never really do. But if you're unfamiliar with the Sixers and Josh Harris, and even not the Sixers, the Devils, the other things that has led up to his ownership of the now Washington Commanders, this is like a 10-year release of anger for this game. So this is way more than a football game for me. And I would suggest possibly paying attention to some of the Sixers history if you're unfamiliar with the crossover here, because I'm going to keep getting into it, but my opinion is Josh Harris, the owner of the Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the New Jersey Devils, and I don't know, probably 1,000 other different things, is one of the most giant pieces of shit on earth, who is constantly and consistently in the moment ruining sports. And I don't mean that by any type of hyperbole whatsoever. This type of ownership destroys fun. 10 years ago, Josh Harris did not own an NFL franchise. I have never seen any ownership group in my life move this quickly and find funds that quickly. Something stinks. It always has. Bringing in crypto, bringing the fanatics in heavier to dominate all of sports. They are trying to monopolize. I think they're trying to monopolize sports. So it's great that Dan Snyder got out of there. Whoopity-doo. but you just let in the most talented snake oil salesperson I've ever seen in my life. I have seen organizations control messages before, or try to control messages before, and the Sixers are extremely hypersensitive about anything that might rattle the cages. More than anyone I've ever covered in my life, more than any type of fandom that I've ever had in my life, this ownership group has made me feel uncomfortable for 10 years. Uncomfortable. And if you know anything about me, there are two sports, and that is it. There is football and there is basketball, and occasionally if the Flyers are good, I'm paying attention. If you want me to be honest, I'm a Cubs fan. Go fuck yourself. Bryce Harper sucks. I'm kidding. Kind of. But yeah, it's going to be a week for me. So I went a lot longer than I thought, and I'm glad that I did. And man, fucking being sick sucks. But having both parents be sick with 3 healthy kids on a day off, I'm so glad to talk to you guys. So thank you as always. See you later this week.